Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So this week we have in this part to repair. So I don't actually know what you call it, but it's off a Lemken semi-mounted plough. So on a semi-mounted plough, the weight of the plough is not actually lifted by the tractor, it sort of lifts itself out the ground. And this is what this bit is. So that part there is this part on the plough that goes along there with your wheel on it. And then when you lift your plough out the ground, rather than the tractor taking the whole weight of the plough, the back wheel lifts sort of half the weight of the plough. So that is, well, this is a different model of Lemken Plough, but it's the same principle. So your back wheel lifts it up, it turns over by there, pivots one way or the other. See if I can find a video of one working. So I just found a video here. This is a video of, it's a different model plough, but it's the same principle on the back of a case tractor. So when it gets to the end, rather than the whole tractor lifting the plough out the ground, the plough is lifted by the wheel at the back, so the wheel is taking sort of half the weight of the plough. And then also when you go down the road as well, the plough is running on the wheel rather than the full weight of the tractor. It's once you get above a certain size with ploughs, it's not really practical for the tractor to be lifting the plough. That's why you have sort of semi-mounted ploughs. But as you can see with this one, it has snapped. And someone has had a go repairing it before, and yeah, they haven't done a very good job of it. And then as well as that bit that's broken, it's also broken this bit off. So there's a linkage that goes from here onto the actual plough that it pivots from, which is this linkage here. And that's where it's broken that end off. It looks like that's maybe had plates welded on it before. Yeah, it definitely has had plates welded on it before. It's difficult to see on this picture, but yeah, it's that bit that pivots off there onto there. So that's what joins one bit to the other bit. So what I'll do first, I think, is I'll get this bit out of here, take that pin out, remove that bit, see what size the pin is that goes through the middle. Then I'll gouge around there, see if I can get this bit out first, and then I can order a new one of them while I'm repairing that bit. Because at the moment, obviously they can't use the plough because it's broken, but they can't take the plough off the tractor to use the tractor, so they've got a plough broken and a tractor that they can't use. So I need to sort of get it repaired as soon as I can. So that is that removed from there, and that's how that's supposed to be on there. So I think I might just gouge that top plate off. Won't take much doing, hopefully. Just gouge down there and around there and get that bit off. So I've got that plate gouged off that went over the top of there. What's that plate? It has been welded on after, because you can see there's blue paint under there. But you can also see a weld across there where this has been welded on. I've just ordered one of them, but the new one is, it's not quite as beefy around there, but it's thicker. It's 30mm thick instead of like 25. Like I say, I don't know how long it's going to be, so I'm not going to cut that off yet until the new one comes. So I'll leave that for now, and we'll crack on with this bit. I think what I'll do is I'll strip it down. I'll take the wheel out of there, and I'll take this bit off, and then it's just going to make it easier for me to line that bit back up again. It would be better completely replacing this box section, but it's a bit of a funny size. So it measures like 110, make sure I haven't got any 110, and to order a bit that length, no one's going to want to sell me a bit that length. Plus I'd have to cut the angle on it and make it fit that, so I think I'll just repair this. But if I strip everything off it, and then I can get it lined up back where it needs to be, and then I'll have to plate down the inside of it, because I can't plate over this side because that bit goes over it, and then I'll cut some holes in it, plug weld it through to the plate on the inside, and then I can plate it on the top and plate it on the bottom. So I'll take that pin out, and then there's another pin there that holds that ram on, and then a big nut on the top of that, which then there should be bearings in there, and then that'll come out. So that's the wheel out. You can see it's got just taper roller bearings on it. And that's that bit off, and also the ram out. So this bit is only just to say holding on now. So I might as well just knock this bit off. And then there's a pipe that goes up there to that little ram to lock the steering by the look of it. Stop that wheel spinning, stop that turning. Looks like that banjo bolt's got bent. I don't think I've done that because I've been relatively gentle with it, so I must have done that when I loaded it onto the trailer. If I take that out, take that pipe off, and then break this bit off. Just looking at this end now, you can see it has been very badly welded up. You can see there, that is weld and that is the original metal. So the weld has only sort of been half the depth of the steel. That is the original steel there, so that's not been ground out or anything, I wouldn't have said. It's just sort of been put back together and welded over the top of it. There's been no weld across the bottom where it's broken out. And then it's just had that bit welded over the top. Them welds there have hardly done anything. And then it's been welded across there. Yeah, very bad repair. What I need to do next then is get rid of this. I'll gouge that original plate off as well. Gouge that off, and I need to offer it back up as it is so I can get the right angle off it, how it's supposed to be joined back up. I'm going to CNC some plates out to go on the inside of there that sort of go inside that bit and inside that bit. I'll plasma some holes in the side, plug weld that in, and I'll have to chop off all this crappy bit because that metal has stretched and been strained. I'm going to get rid of that all the way around, and then I'll be able to weld back through to the plate that's behind it. It's a bit awkward with it being so long, but I'm hoping I can get it laid on my bench, clamp it down, and then it's flat and get my angle right on there. Just need to tidy up a bit. I've got them bits of plate gouged off then that were on there. Now I need to sit this onto here. I've got these put on the side of my bench, so I can sit it on there and then have the bit that goes out across there. I can't have the whole lot sat on my bench because it's got these brackets welded on for that toolbox, so that's why I'll have to have it on the outriggers. But I just want to get it set up on here, get it offered up how it should be, so when I do weld it up, I know it's going to be the same angle and the same sort of length and distance as it was. I'll just have to spin that around because at the moment it's the wrong way around. I've got this bit of box section set up on here then, and then I've got that sort of butted up again there. It doesn't fit very well because when it's ripped it open, it sort of stretched it. So I'll have to, well, I'm going to get rid of that anyway. I just sort of wanted to get an idea of how it fit together. But I have measured the angle inside of there because there is still a bit of that original box left up into there, and that is sort of 48 degrees in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut some plates out that will go inside there and inside there, and then put it back together, and then the bit that I chop out I can fill that in with weld, and the plates that I'll put in there will act like a backing plate. It doesn't matter too much whether the length is slightly longer or slightly shorter, as long as we're sort of somewhere near. There's a bit at the top there that's a real thin slither of the original box, which we'll have to get rid of. We'll chop that out, and I don't know what he's been doing when he welded that up, but when you look on the inside, it's not weld, so I don't know. We'll have to chop some of that out. But yeah, I'll get some plates drawn first. So that's that bracket, that's that plate drawn. As I want two of them, and I have some 8mm plate I've just put on there. So I'll cut one out to start with, make sure it's going to be right, and then we'll cut the second one out. That's them cut out and cleaned up. I just ground a mill scale off on the side that's going to get welded on. So for these holes that I'm going to drill in here, I think I'm going to use a mag drill rather than cut them out with a plasma cutter. With a plasma cutter you always end up with some dross on the inside, and then in box section like that, especially on that bit, it's difficult to knock it off, and then your plates don't sit up properly. So just drill them through. I think on this bit, rather than having to turn the whole thing over again, I might just tack the plates in and then mag drill the holes afterwards once I can move it again, because I don't want to have to tip it the other way up to drill the holes to tip it back again, because it's not very easy to tip over. It just tries to tip off that end. So I've got them holes drilled in there now. I think they're a 32mm hole. So I suppose if I take a measurement off there to there, I can sort of get a reference of where it sort of once was. I know it's not completely touching there, but if I went 505 on that measurement, it might be somewhere near. So I'll trim some of that off now on both sides, get rid of the bad stuff, and then I'll tack them plates in offer it up and then weld around it. And I need to make a plate to go on here, and I might also, if I can fit one in, put one underneath as well. I've got that slid over there and sort of set up at the right angle, but there's a big gap at the bottom, so I'll have to put a plate in there, same as what I've done with that. And then I might as well put a plate in the top as well. There's a bit of a gap. Just be easier to fill in if it's got a backer behind it. So I'll take that back off again and then press my plate for there, drill a hole, and then put a flat bit in. I've got them 2 bits cut out, but I've just decided I'm not going to bother pressing a bit to go on the inside because I don't think it'll need it. With these bits in, it'll be a lot stronger than it was. So that bit will do for the bottom. I'm just going to cut that strip off there and then tack that in, and that'll do for like a backing plate for that weld. And then I'll plate over the top of that on the outside. I don't think it needs one on the inside and the outside, so I'm not going to bother. I've got that put back together then with them bits of plate in. A bit of a tight fit, I had to knock it back. But we've got 505 now from there to there. .506. And then we've got 48 degrees there. I'll get plenty of tacks around that all the way around it, through them holes. So I'll have to drill them holes at the other side of this bit yet, but I can do that once it's all tacked together. I'll get all that welded up and then I'll make a plate for here. There was a crack in there that I've sort of gouged out a bit, but when I put this plate on here, I'll weld that up and then I'll go over the top of that with my new plate, and I'll maybe also put some holes in the new plate to weld it onto there as well. But everything's nice and flat. It's clamped down onto there, it's flat on that, clamped down onto there, it's flat on there, down there, so it should be nice and straight. Right angle, what we need. Yeah. That's all that welded up then, so I filled them plugs in. Done a few welds across there. That took, because it was wider at the bottom than it was at the top, I just had to put another bit in there. It still might want a bit more weld yet, once I've ground it off. Might want a bit filling in a bit more. And then weld across the top. Down there, and then same at this side. That, I think, definitely will want some more filling in. Just because there was nothing there at the end. The weld was sort of running away, so I'll grind it smooth and then I'll put a bit more in there after. It looks like there is maybe some cracks starting to form there as well. So I have to sort them out. I'm giving that all a grind down now, so that's nice and flat on the sides. So I'm just going to cut out a plate now to go over here. So that should do on there. It covers where that crack was that I welded over. And yeah, I did say I was going to cut some holes in it, but I forgot. But I just weld it round, it'd be alright without any holes in. I will just have to grind that weld off a little bit because it's sort of sat on it. A few of you will probably be upset as well that I haven't covered over there, but when you look at the bearing race, you can see how badly pitted it is, so a bit of dust is not really going to make much difference. And the other one at the other side is the same. And that's that bit welded round, welded on. So that's that repair done. The next weak point, or next failure point, will be across there, I would have thought, because it had already cracked a little bit there. And I have welded it up, but if it does break again, it'll break off via there. I've got my new ball joint to go on the end of there. It's like a Cat 2 ball pivot, whatever. It's not quite as beefy that way. The new one is not quite as beefy as that one, but it is thicker. That's 30mm thick and that's only like 25mm thick. So it should do the job. So I need to sort of offer that one up. And then lay the new one on top of it, and it does sort of match up where that is. So I just need to cut that off across there and then weld that one on. So I think I'll just cut across there with a 9-inch grinder, get rid of that bit. Be as easy doing it with a grinder, I think. I'll have to take a bit of that plate back on this side. You can see that's sort of like the original, and then there's a plate, that plate welded over the top. So I'll have to get rid of that, and then I can weld that onto that on both sides. I don't know whether I'll put a plate over it or not. It might put a weak point across it if I weld across there, a bit like a trailer drawbar ring. But I'll see what it looks like once I've got that bit taken out. I'll have to put a bevel on it as well. I've got that tacked on there, so I gouged that plate off there to get back down to the original bit. That bit in there is 20mm thick. I've set it up on there so it's sort of like half and half, so because this bit's thicker there's sort of some where it should be equal. I've V'd that off both sides, got a bit of a gap. That sort of already had a bit of a chamfer on it, and there's sort of a bit of a chamfer on that side, but because it's thicker than that anyway, I'll get plenty of welding there. So I'll get that welded on. I'll maybe give this bit of a preheat first, get that welded on, and then I'm not sure whether to put any more plates over it or not. But anyway, we'll get welded on and see, we'll decide from there. Right, that's that welded on as well now. There's plenty of runs of weld around that. You can see under there or not. That's what the other side looks like. It just wants grinding off a little bit around them corners once it's cooled down. Don't know what to do with that plate. If you look at this one, the old one, it's broken off where that weld is across there. Now, whether it's broken off because that's giving it more strength to there, or whether it's broken off there because that weld across there has made it weak. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it without a plate on there. I think it'll be strong enough as it is, but I will just gouge the rest of that away and make it look a bit tidier. Get rid of that, because I just sort of gouged through that plate. I didn't gouge the weld away, so there's still a bit of the plate left and the weld left. You can see the line down there. So I get rid of that, tidy that up a bit. Whether I weld across there where I gouged that bit out, or whether I just leave that. I've been down there with a gouger and removed the rest of that, and then cleaned it up a bit. So I'll give that a spray over. Well, I'm just going to do it with red oxide. I can't keep every single colour in stock for all the jobs that I do, so that's why I just do everything with red oxide. And then I'll give that a spray over as well, and then I can start putting it back together. Actually, I'll use grey primer this time because I've got more grey primer than I have red oxide. I'm just giving that a clean round now, and you can see how bad that bearing is. It's real rough when you feel it. So it does really want new bearings in, but then again, it's not a wheel bearing that's going round and round and round and round. It's just sort of a pivot, so it'll probably last a long time like that. And then the one on the bottom side is just as bad. So I need to try and get that back in there now, which will be quite difficult, I think. It's upside down at the moment, so don't know the best way to do it really. That's the wheel back in then, so I'll lower that down and try and avoid the whole lot falling off. There we go, that's that lot all back together then. It's connected up. That banjo bolt wasn't very good, but there was sort of enough threads, good threads to, it has tightened up anyway, so it should be alright. It was a funny banjo bolt, it was like machined down in the middle with a O-ring in two places. It took a bit of working out the best way to put it back together, because when it came in, it was, with it being broken, it was in a different sort of shape to what it is now. Anyway, it's back together. I think that little ram there, when you lift it up, it pressurizes that, which then must lift that out and lift that locking pin out, which locks into here, I think. And then, like when you're going down the road, I'm guessing you let it down and it'll lock into that middle position when the wheel's round here and keep your plough straight then when you're going down the road. But yeah, that's that sorted. Not the tidiest looking job, but it should be nice and strong again. Maybe should have smoothed it off with a flat disc after and made it look a bit nicer, but it is what it is. It didn't help when it had already been welded up by someone else. But that's my job done, so I can take that back out of the workshop now. Right, a little add-on to the end of the video. I've been thinking about getting a robotic lawnmower for a while. My nana has one for her garden, and she shouldn't have to mow the lawn anymore. The robot does it for her. These guys reached out and said, would I be interested in a robotic lawnmower? Because I've been after one anyway, I said, yeah, this is it. So this is my Motion, and it is a Yuka Mini, which is meant for like 800 square metres garden. The excitement got the better of me. As you can see, it's already out the box. I downloaded the app on my phone and I've got it connected to the app. Now I just need to set the base station up and then map the garden. So it does have AI, like AI software, whatever. And it does have its own little eyes as well. Oh, it does have its own little eyes as well, so it can actually map the garden for you, or you can do it manually. UltraSense AI Vision, that's called. We'll get its base set up. So there's a base there, and then this bit screws to it, I think. We'll get that set up. And this is what my garden looks like at the moment. It's a bit wild, but let's see how it goes. So I'll put the base station down there. I think the Wi-Fi is just through the window because it connects to the Wi-Fi. So that's nice and easy. There's 4 screws that screw that on. It comes with its own screwdriver as well. So that's that. And it comes with these plastic screws to fasten that down. I don't know how well they'll work into gravel. This box is also a little garage roof that comes with it as well. Right, that's sat down with the roof on it. Not sure how successful they'll be because it's only to gravel, so they might pull out if it's real windy, but if it was on grass it'd be fine, I think. And then that's your charger that plugs into there. And hopefully there should be enough spare cable to get in through that window into the house. I haven't got a socket on the outside yet. So this is the robot itself. It's only a small little thing. I think this is the smallest one. And it's got proper little,
the robot tilted.
Real sharp little razor blades, the cutting blades. I think this is a floating deck as well, so it like follows the shape of the ground. And then you adjust the height on the top here with that. Alright, so this is the app. I don't really know how to use it yet because I haven't tried. So I think I have to put the robot on the charging thing now. Right, so we're going to manually map the lawn then, so I think I'll have to drive around it. Right, so we've got that mapped, driven around there. Yeah, I think press mow now, see what happens. I've set it on the highest height because it's maybe a bit unfair asking it to mow that, but we'll see how it goes. Select area 1, confirm, So that's 118 square metres and it's going to take 97 minutes to cut it. Yep, it's off. Going to the corner to start. Yep. I don't think it likes that branch in front of it. So I didn't realise at the time, but when you look on the app here, it shows you the line that it's going to be cutting. So it sets up its own like optimal cutting path. So in this corner here where it started, it's just doing the short runs. That's why it's turning around all the time. I think what it's trying to do is it's trying to go in diagonals like that, by the look of it. And then I think it does the perimeter after. So I lowered the height down a bit. It's cutting at 45mm now. Doing a good job, to be fair. Actually handling the long grass really well. It'll be interesting to see what happens when it gets to the table. It's obstacle avoidance. Move that table onto here now and then it doesn't leave a bit. Right, so it's nearly done, it's on the last little bits now. It's even got its own little work light. Then once it's done these last runs in it, it goes 3 times round to do the perimeter, or the headland as we'd call it in farming. Right, so that you saw there was the first initial cut that I did with it. It's been running for a few weeks now. It's done 136 hours. See there on the app, it tells you how many hours it's done and how many kilometres it's done. And this is what my lawn looks like now. So there's a lot of dandelions. It's not in very good condition grass, but the lawnmower has been keeping it that short. And I've also got it set up to do 3 other lawns. So it does this lawn here, that was my log shed that we built there in previous video. So it's programmed to do all this. And down there, it also does that lawn, round all these trees and round in there. And then it does another lawn at the back, there's my dad's other lawn. It's programmed to do that as well. So if you look on the app there now, that's the lawns I've got it programmed in to do. That's my lawn. And then these yellow bits are like no-go zones, so I've programmed it in so it misses them bits as either trees or like drain covers, or my dad has a little patio there that it misses out, so it knows to go around them. And then they're the little paths that it uses to get from one lawn to the other. You program them in. So overall, I am very pleased with it. It has a few issues. Sometimes it loses signal, but then it sits out until it finds signal again, and then it'll carry on. And we do have a little bit of problem with moles on one of the lawns, and because it's like a zero turn, sometimes the front wheel gets stuck in where the mole has dug up, and then you have to go and give it a little nudge to get it unstuck, and then it'll carry on again. But yeah, neither me or my dad have had to do any lawn mowing ourselves now since I've got this robot, so it's a good little thing. I am pretty pleased with it. I'll keep you updated on how I'm getting on with it. So just another little update on the lawnmower. So it has now done 266 hours 16 minutes, and it's done 166 kilometers. So I've had it set up to do each lawn twice a week at 6 o'clock on a night. You can set it up to do whatever time you want, but I've just set it up to do 6 o'clock, and it'll do alternative days. You can either set it up as a schedule, or you can set it up on set days, and I've had it set up on set days, and it'll drive itself to the lawn, cut the lawn, and then drive itself back, so you don't have to do anything with it. It'll just go off and does it itself. It's not been idiot proof. A couple of times it gets stuck, and I have a little bit of problem with the front wheels, which I'll show you now, but I've sorted that, and since I've sorted that, it's been trouble free again. So these front wheels go in and out, so like they have sensors on them, so if it drives up anything, the front wheels drop down, it stops. But they get a little bit of wear on them, and then they don't go back in properly, so they'll drop down,
the front wheel lifted,
or the wheel will get stuck like that, and then it causes all sorts of problems. So what I did was I took them out. There's 3 screws that hold them in, oiled them, put a bit of grease on them, which it says you're supposed to do that like under maintenance anyway, and it's been fine ever since I've done that again, so I sorted that problem. I did swap the blades round once. There's like 4, you get 4 like wearing sides on. I don't really think they needed swapping, but I just swapped them around, but it didn't really make a lot of difference. It's still doing a good job. Now we have quite a lot of apple trees. It doesn't really like apples very much, but it will avoid them if they're big ones, or it'll just mow over them if they're only little ones, but it doesn't seem to bother it. I'm just setting back on his charger again.
start recharging.
The app, they must be developing it all the time, because there is quite a few different settings on it now than what there was when I first started with it. Like you can alter the blade speed now, you can alter, well, there's all sorts of settings. You can alter the speed of the actual mower, you can alter the overlap that it does, and then there's different sensitivity settings for avoidance. You can either turn the avoidance off altogether, so if it runs, it'll just keep going until it runs into something, and then it'll nudge it and then work its way around it, or it has 2 different sensitivity settings as well. The only thing I would say, if you have a lot of overhanging like vegetation around the outside of your garden, because it senses obstacles, it sort of avoids them bits, and then it sort of, each time it gets a bit wider and a bit wider, so you have to sometimes turn the obstacle avoidance off when it's doing the perimeter, and then it cuts back round the track that it originally was supposed to do. Over the 266 hours I've had mine, I would recommend getting one. They're not idiot proof. You do have to do maintenance with them and sort of make sure they're going all right. That's what I think of mine so far anyway. So I know it is getting a bit late in the season for a lawnmower, but they are doing a big deal for Black Friday. So if you look in the description below, there's a link for if you're in the US or if you're in the UK, there's a link for both. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.